Hey guys, and welcome to week 4 of our series Fear Factor. We're glad you're with us, and a special shout out to all of our campuses that are watching. We're so glad you're here, and thanks for being here. I have a friend who's actually a youth pastor in Colorado, and he's one of those guys that's kind of like the best friend with everyone he meets. You know what I'm talking about? He's really funny, he's really super cool, he has great ideas, and it seems like he's always making perfect decisions. And his youth group is always doing the right things. He has great hair. He's everything that I'm not. Right? And he's one of those guys in my life that I find myself comparing myself to a lot, like all the time. And do you have somebody like that in your life that you find yourself always comparing yourself to? I remember one time looking through Facebook and just kind of killing time, and I came across a post that he had written. And he had a hashtag stuck out to me, and it was hashtag no bad days. And I remember at that time thinking to myself, man, I really wish I didn't have any bad days. And there was even a moment where I was thinking, man, I kind of wish I had that life. And while I get the idea behind no bad days, it really got me thinking about how we think about our lives in comparison to other people. And while there are a lot of things about this that I could point out and a lot of issues that I could talk about, over the last several weeks we've been talking about fear and the way it really impacts our lives and how it really drives our decisions, and just the fear can impact the way we think, act, and other aspects of our lives. And there's a fear that's attached to this story from my friend Preston that we can all struggle with, and that's the fear of missing out, or FOMO. How many of you guys have ever heard of that? How many of you guys have ever really experienced this? You see the lives that other people are living, and you start to wonder if you're missing out on something in your own life. You begin to look around and wonder if everybody else has a secret that maybe you don't have, because they seem to know something you don't know about being happy and satisfied. And really, the online content and world doesn't help any, does it? The fact that we see only glimpses into people's lives and they look perfect and they look happy. And I really don't want to spend too much time on this because we've talked about it before, but we really base our comparison to other people on the highlights of their life, not versus the everyday. And yours, when you look at it that way, might seem that it doesn't measure up. Other people's lives, they look really fun online, right? Which they look like they are probably having fun in the real world too. And no matter how awesome your life is, it's really, really easy to feel like you're missing out on something. You feel like your friend's house or body or vacation or social life could be so much better, right? And maybe you've spent time thinking about what it would take to improve your situation. Maybe you think, man, if only I had a car, or if only I looked differently, if only my family had more money, if only my family were better at being a family, if only I had made the team, if only I went to a different school, if only I were more popular, athletic, academic, or more fill in the blank. What's crazy is at some point in your life, you've probably had an if only. And you've probably had an if only wish that came true at some level. You thought your life would be better if fill in the blank happened, and guess what? It did. Maybe in the 6th grade, you really hoped that you would grow 2 inches taller, and then you did. Or maybe you hoped you could one day get your braces off, and then you did. And immediately your life was better, and ever since then you've been completely happy all the time. Maybe that's not how it turned out for you. Chances are it wasn't long before you had a new if only, a new wish that made you believe that your life isn't as awesome as it could be. And even if it isn't enough to make you completely miserable, this fear of missing out, or this FOMO, this sense that things could be better, keeps you from enjoying your life now. And this is really a weird thing that happens in human nature, and I'm really guilty of this a lot, where we have these moments where things are really going well, where we have these moments where, you know what, life's pretty good right here, like really good. And immediately it shifts and it changes, and we have this moment where we can't even enjoy the good moments because we just know something is going to happen. Something's going to ruin it. I'm doing really well with my friends. Someone's going to mess this up. And we're going to be on the outside looking in once again. We'll once again be missing out. For me, this takes place with my kids. I will be kissing my kiddos goodnight, and in those moments, those of you that know me know I love my kid, and in those moments, all of a sudden, I'm kissing them goodnight, and I'm hit with this fear that something's going to happen to them. That what if they get sick? What if they break an arm? Or what if my daughter crying means that she has cancer? We deal with this, and we go to this crazy place because we have this fear that we're not measuring up, or that our life isn't measuring up to what it could be. And the truth is, there's a lot of reasons that we think like this, but one of them is that it's really hard to live in peace and contentment of what we have. I want you to hear me say this. It is impossible to struggle with FOMO, or the fear of missing out, when you're living in a place of peace and you're content with the life around you. When you're able to be present and appreciate the life that you have, even in the midst of the hard stuff, you don't have to worry about the comparison game. Let me tell you a secret that you may have already been told, but life is not fair. I really wish it was, but it isn't. And the truth is, there are people that are going to have more than you. They're going to have more talent. They're going to have more money. They're going to have more friends. They're going to have more hair. They're going to have more muscles. Whatever the case, there's always going to be people with more. But when we can live in a place of peace with what we have, it doesn't matter. And that isn't to say that we don't strive to have a better life. That isn't to say, for instance, I don't work really hard to provide for my family the life that I wish I had growing up. But what it does mean is I don't measure my worth and my value and how good my life is based simply on that. And the truth is that we really miss out on these small moments of greatness because we're too busy looking at other moments. We miss the small places of life that are really awesome because they don't look like we think they should. For me, maybe I miss the moment my 7-month-old little girl dives in to give me a big, sloppery, open-mouthed kiss because I'm too focused on the fact that the laundry isn't folded, or because my 5-year-old just threw a huge temper tantrum. We miss the joy that comes in a moment because we're caught up with the wish list, the if-onlys of life. We miss them because we're too busy feeling like our rights haven't been met. Those if-onlys are really those moments where we think we're owed something that has never been actually given to us. They have never been promised to us. And until we give those to God, we're never going to be able to be satisfied or content. Can I give you a little peek behind the curtain? The Apostle Paul gave us a key to this in the book of Philippians. And this is what he says. In Philippians 4, he says this, "Not that I was ever in need, for I've learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is on a full stomach or an empty, with plenty or with little. I can do all things. I can do everything through Christ, which gives me strength." Paul is writing to his friends, and when he's writing this, he's in prison. Can you imagine that? He's saying, I'm happy and I'm content in the middle of prison. And he's saying that no matter what's happening around me, I've learned to be satisfied. I've learned to be content. My happiness, my peace is not tied to what's happening in anybody else's life. It's not tied to how good or how bad my life is going. It's only found in God and doing His will and His work. In fact, if you take a look at this whole chapter at the end of the book of Philippians, Paul is saying that the key to his contentment is really the practice of being grateful. Let me tell you a secret. Thankfulness is a practice. It's a habit that must be formed. It must be practiced, and it must be intentionally sought after in our lives. When we can begin to see the reasons to be grateful in our own lives, we can stop looking for reasons to be grateful about other people's lives. You know, it's been proven that as you develop the practice of looking for ways to be thankful, you begin to see them with more regularity. When you begin looking for ways to be thankful, you begin to find them. It's really weird that it works that way. And gratitude really impacts the way we see the world. It impacts the way we can interact with life. Some of the most dynamic and the coolest people I have ever met are not the ones that had everything. They're the ones that were really able to live in the present and in the now, being thankful and content with where they were in life. How many times have we seen people on the other side of that have everything? They have money and ability and houses and these great experiences and everything, and they're still just miserable because they're not able to be content with what they have. And the truth is that they're measuring by the wrong standard. God hasn't called us to compare ourselves to each other, but to be content with our lives and the standard that He measures us, which is really more about our hearts than anything else. It's more about our hearts than it is about stuff and money and experiences. So today, really, if you hear only one thing, I want you to hear this. FOMO, the fear of missing out, actually can cause you to miss out. Only a life of peace and thankfulness can really bring happiness and contentment. So as you leave today, let me challenge you to stop comparing yourselves to others. Stop comparing your experiences to other people's. If you don't already, I want to challenge you and ask if you will take the challenge for the month of November. Will you stop each day and find one thing to be thankful for? Put it on Instagram, put it on Facebook, put it on wherever you're Snapchat. But put it in your journals most of all. But find one thing at the end of the day, even on the worst of days, stop and take a moment to live in thankfulness for what you do have. Get a journal, get a notebook, and record it each day, because I promise it'll help you to see the places that you do measure, that your life is worth measuring up to. And it'll have an impact on the way you see your life. Thanks for being here. I hope to see you all next week.